Have you ever noticed how loud the world has become? Everyone is speaking, sharing, posting, and performing, as if silence is a weakness. But here's the truth. Silence is strength. And not everything we hold in our hearts deserves to be thrown out into the noise of the world. Some things are sacred. Some things are worth keeping close, worth protecting, because they carry the weight of our peace. And once that peace is broken, it's almost impossible to put the pieces back together. I want to take you back for a moment. Think about the last time you shared something too early. Maybe it was a dream, a relationship, or a part of yourself that felt raw and unformed. You gave it away to people who didn't nurture it, who questioned it, who doubted it, and suddenly what once felt alive and exciting inside of you became fragile. It shrank. It lost its light. I know this feeling because I've lived it. And maybe, just maybe, you've lived it too. We live in a culture that celebrates exposure. The more you put yourself out there, the more you're praised. We equate transparency with courage. But courage isn't about telling the whole world everything. Courage is about discernment. It's about knowing what to share, when to share it, and with whom. And that's where the idea of protecting your peace comes in. Because peace is fragile. It's like glass. It doesn't shatter with one dramatic blow. It cracks slowly, little by little, every time you let the wrong person handle it. Here's the paradox we rarely talk about. People crave your story, but not everyone deserves access to it. Vulnerability is powerful, yes, but it must be offered carefully, intentionally, like a gift. When you give it to the wrong audience, it turns into ammunition. When you give it to the right audience, it turns into connection. And that difference can shape the entire course of your life. I remember sitting with a friend years ago, sharing a dream I had, something I was working on quietly, something I wasn't ready to expose to the world. I was glowing with excitement. But instead of encouragement, she looked at me with doubt in her eyes and said, "Are you sure you can even pull that off?" And in that moment, my dream felt smaller. Not because it wasn't worthy, but because I had let it out into a space that couldn't hold it with care. Protecting your peace means knowing that your heart deserves better than that. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine holding something close, nurturing it in silence until it grows strong enough to stand on its own, like planting a seed and covering it with soil. No one sees it. No one applauds it. But under the surface, it's taking root. It's getting stronger every single day. By the time it breaks through the ground and reaches the sun, it's ready. And no amount of criticism or doubt can stop it. That's what happens when we learn to keep certain things private. So let me tell you why this matters. The world will always have an opinion. It will always have something to say about who you are, what you're doing, and where you're going. And if you hand over your peace to that noise, you'll find yourself living a life that doesn't belong to you. It belongs to their voices, their judgments, their expectations. Protecting your peace means reclaiming ownership of your story. It means deciding that not everyone gets a front row seat to your life. There's nothing selfish about privacy. There's nothing weak about keeping parts of yourself hidden. In fact, it's the opposite. It's wisdom. It's strength. It's the quiet confidence of someone who knows that their worth doesn't depend on external validation. Privacy is not secrecy. It's preservation. It's choosing to hold on to the pieces of yourself that are too important, too tender, too sacred to expose. And as we move forward together, I want you to keep this in mind. What you keep private is not about shutting people out. It's about letting yourself grow without interference. It's about building a foundation of peace so steady, so strong, that no amount of noise can shake it. Because when your peace is intact, you move differently. You speak differently. You live differently. You live free. Have you ever noticed how much easier it is to start talking about a goal than to actually achieve it? We love the rush that comes from saying, "I'm going to do this big thing." People clap, they cheer, they validate us. For a moment, it feels like we've already crossed the finish line. But here's the problem. When we announce our goals too soon, we trade the quiet power of momentum for the shallow thrill of recognition. And that exchange costs us more than we realize. Your goals are sacred. They are fragile in their earliest stages. Like newborns, they need care, protection, and a safe space to grow before they're strong enough to be exposed to the world. Think about a candle flame. When it first flickers to life, it's tiny. If you put it in the middle of a crowded street, the wind will blow it out in seconds. But if you shield it, nurture it, let it burn steadily, it becomes strong enough to light up a whole room. Your goals are the same way. They need privacy until they're ready. We live in a culture of announcements, engagements, promotions, business ventures, personal transformations. Everything has to be declared with fireworks and hashtags. But not every goal is meant to be shouted from the rooftops. Some goals deserve silence, because silence is where they grow. Silence is where you find clarity. And silence is where you protect yourself from voices that can drain your fire before it even has a chance to burn. I remember talking to a student once who shared that she wanted to write a book. She told her family, her friends, her classmates. At first, she was on fire. Every conversation about it made her feel alive. But weeks turned into months, and she hadn't written a single page. Why? Because talking about the book gave her the illusion of progress. She confused validation with achievement. And when the excitement of applause wore off, she felt empty, discouraged, and ashamed. That's what happens when we give away our goals too early. They lose their energy. Now, I'm not saying you should never share your dreams, but here's the truth. Not everyone deserves to hear them. When you're still building, you need to be selective. Who has earned the right to hear this part of your story? Who will nurture it, protect it, and remind you of your power when you forget? That's who you share with. Not the masses, not strangers, not people who clap only when it serves them. Your goals deserve guardians, not critics. And here's another layer. The more you share, the more expectations you invite. Suddenly, your goal isn't yours anymore. It belongs to the opinions of others. They'll ask, "How's it going? Did you start? Are you finished yet?" And instead of working in peace, you start working under pressure, performing for an audience that may not even care. That kind of pressure kills creativity. It kills authenticity. It forces you into proving instead of becoming. And that is not the path to real success. Think about history. Some of the greatest innovators, artists, and leaders didn't announce every step of their journey. They worked in silence. They failed in silence. They refined their craft behind closed doors. And when the world finally saw what they created, it was undeniable. The work spoke louder than any announcement could. That's the power of keeping your goals private. So what does this mean for you? It means the next time you feel the urge to post, declare, or broadcast what you're planning, pause. Ask yourself, am I sharing this for accountability, or am I sharing this for validation? Because accountability can build discipline, but validation can rob you of it. If you want to grow stronger, choose accountability with the right people and keep the rest close to your chest. Your goals are not performance pieces. They are sacred whispers from your soul about who you are becoming. And becoming is a fragile process. Protect it. Give it space. Let it grow without interference. Because when the time is right, when your roots are deep and your vision is clear, the world will see it. And they won't just see it, they'll feel it. And here's the best part. When you achieve a goal you kept private, the victory feels pure. It's not about proving anyone wrong. It's not about silencing critics. It's about honoring yourself. You'll know that you didn't need applause to keep going. You didn't need an audience to validate your dream. You needed only your own persistence, your own discipline, and your own belief. So let your goals be your secret garden. Tend to them quietly. Water them with effort, not with words. And when they finally bloom, they'll tell the world your story in a way no announcement ever could. Have you ever noticed how people can't stand not knowing what you're doing next? The moment you start something new, the questions come flying. What's your plan? Where are you going? What's the next step? And sometimes, without even thinking, we start explaining. We lay out every detail of our next move, like it's an open book. But here's the truth. Not every move needs an audience. Not every step needs to be broadcast. Because when you reveal your next move too soon, you invite noise into a space that should stay quiet. Life isn't a chess game where you show the opponent all your strategies before you play. Think about it. If you were playing a serious match, would you announce your next move before you made it? Of course not, because the strength of your strategy lies in its surprise. The same is true for your life. Your next move is powerful precisely because it's yours. Unseen, unpredicted, and protected until it's real. I once had a conversation with a colleague who told me about a business idea he had. It was innovative, creative, something that could genuinely work. But instead of protecting it, he told everyone. He shared it in casual conversations, dropped hints at gatherings, even posted about it online. And here's what happened. The idea lost its edge. Other people jumped on similar concepts. Some criticized it before it was even tested. And suddenly, what once felt exciting became heavy. His energy drained away, not because the idea wasn't good, but because he handed it over before it was ready to stand. This is what happens when we reveal our next move too soon. We give people permission to comment, to question, to doubt, and sometimes even to compete. And all of that energy, all of that noise, can shake your confidence before you even begin. Protecting your next move doesn't mean you're hiding. It means you're wise enough to know that silence is a strategy. Here's the paradox. We often think that sharing our plans makes us look bold, ambitious, strong. But real strength is being able to hold something close, to sit with the tension of not being seen, to do the work in the shadows, without anyone clapping. Because when you finally step into the light, you don't just have ideas, you have results. And results speak louder than any promise ever could. Think about a seed again. Imagine if every time it started to sprout underground, it announced, "Hey, I'm growing. I'm about to become a flower." It wouldn't survive, because it would break through the soil before its roots were ready, vulnerable to being crushed by the smallest storm. The seed doesn't announce its growth. It grows in silence, in darkness, until the roots are deep enough to hold it steady. That's the wisdom of your next move. It needs time in the dark before it can survive in the light. And let's be honest, sometimes we share our next move not because we need to, but because we want validation. We want someone to say, "Wow, that's amazing. You're so smart, so brave." But that kind of validation is short-lived. It doesn't sustain you. In fact, it tricks your brain into feeling like you've already achieved something, when in reality, you haven't even started. Protecting your next move keeps your fire alive. It forces you to earn the satisfaction through action, not applause. I want you to think about something right now. What's one thing you've been dreaming about? Something you haven't told many people. Maybe it's a career change. Maybe it's a personal project. Maybe it's a risk you've been afraid to take. Hold on to it. Protect it. Don't rush to explain it. Let it live inside of you until it's strong enough to live outside of you. Because when the time comes, when you step out with confidence and say, "This is what I've been working on," people won't just hear your words, they'll see your results. And no one can argue with results. Your next move is your power. Don't hand it over too soon. Don't let it be weakened by doubt, comparison, or competition. Trust that silence doesn't mean weakness. Silence means strength. It means strategy. It means you're wise enough to know that the world doesn't need to see your every step. They just need to see your arrival. And when you finally arrive, when you finally reveal the next move you've been protecting, you'll be unshakable. Because you didn't just plan it, you built it, you lived it, and you earned it in the quiet strength of your own discipline. We live in a time where people share everything. Breakfast on Instagram, arguments on Facebook, love stories on TikTok. And somewhere along the way, we started believing that the more we show, the more real we are. But here's what I've learned. Your personal life and your relationships are not a stage. They are not meant for constant display. They are meant to be lived, nurtured, and protected in the quiet corners where trust can grow. Relationships are fragile when they are exposed too early, too often, and too widely. Think about a plant just beginning to grow. If you keep uprooting it, showing it to everyone, letting it face harsh winds before it has deep roots, it will wither. Love, trust, and personal connections are exactly the same. They need privacy to take root. They need the quiet to grow strong enough to survive the storms that life will inevitably bring. I remember a young woman once sharing her heartbreak with me. She had posted her relationship everywhere. Photos, captions, updates. To the outside world, it looked perfect. But behind the smiles and filters, it was crumbling. When it finally ended, she felt two kinds of pain: the loss of the relationship itself and the weight of the public watching it unravel. Instead of healing, she felt like she was performing her grief for an audience. That's the cost of living your personal life in the spotlight. You lose the right to heal in peace. There's a difference between being authentic and being exposed. Authenticity means being real with the people who've earned the right to see you, the ones who hold your heart with care. Exposure is throwing your heart out into the crowd and hoping it doesn't get trampled. Vulnerability is powerful, but only when it's intentional. Not everyone deserves to know your struggles. Not everyone deserves to know your joys. Some moments are too sacred to be shared with anyone but the people you trust the most. And let's talk about relationships specifically. Whether it's family, friendships, or romantic love, privacy is not about secrecy, it's about protection. When you keep your relationships private, you're not hiding them. You're giving them the chance to grow without interference. Because the truth is, when too many people are watching, too many voices start weighing in. Why did she say that? Why didn't he show up? Do you think they're really happy? And suddenly, what was once a beautiful connection between two people becomes clouded with doubt and noise from the outside world. Your relationships deserve a safe space where they don't have to perform. A space where mistakes can be made, where forgiveness can be practiced, where intimacy can deepen without the fear of being judged by outsiders. That kind of space is created when you choose privacy. Because the most beautiful parts of life are often the ones we keep just for ourselves: the quiet dinner with someone you love, the inside joke with your best friend, the late-night phone call where you cry and laugh at the same time. These are treasures. They don't need an audience. They just need to be lived. And here's something I want you to carry with you. When you make your personal life too public, you invite people into spaces they don't belong. Some will support you, yes, but others will project their own fears, insecurities, and judgments onto your story. And if you're not careful, you start living for their expectations instead of your own truth. Protecting your personal life is about reclaiming ownership of your story. It's about saying, "This is mine. This doesn't need your commentary. This doesn't need your approval." Now, some people will say, "But if you're not sharing, are you hiding something?" And I want you to hear this clearly. Privacy is not hiding. Privacy is choosing. It's choosing who gets access to your heart, your story, your love. And that choice is one of the most powerful ways you can protect your peace. So let me ask you, what parts of your personal life have you been putting on display that deserve protection instead? What relationships have you been exposing to the noise of the crowd that really need the quiet of privacy? Imagine what could grow if you stopped performing and started protecting. Imagine how much deeper your relationships could become if you gave them room to breathe without the pressure of an audience. At the end of the day, your personal life is not content. Your relationships are not for show. They are real, tender, imperfect, and sacred. And the most sacred things in life don't need to be shouted. They need to be cherished. Protect them. Because when you do, you're not only protecting the people you love, you're protecting your peace, your joy, and your ability to live fully without the weight of the world watching. There's something beautiful about kindness. When we do something good for someone else, we feel lighter, more human, more connected. But have you ever noticed how quickly kindness can lose its purity when we parade it around for everyone to see? The moment we start broadcasting every good deed, posting about it, announcing it, waiting for applause, it stops being about love and starts being about validation. And that shift quietly robs kindness of its true power. Real kindness doesn't need an audience. In fact, the most powerful acts of kindness often go unseen. They live in the quiet moments when nobody is watching. The groceries you drop off for a struggling neighbor. The encouragement you whisper to a friend on the edge of giving up. The tip you slip into someone's hand without asking for recognition. These are the moments that carry real weight, because they are done from the heart, not from the hope of being noticed. I remember once hearing a story about a teacher who would secretly buy lunch for one of her students every week. The child came from a difficult background, and without that quiet act of love, he might have gone hungry. She never told anyone. She didn't post about it, didn't even mention it to her colleagues. Years later, when that boy had grown up, he came back to thank her. He told her that those lunches had made him feel seen, cared for, and worthy. That's the kind of impact kindness creates when it's offered quietly. It plants seeds of hope that grow long after the act is done. Contrast that with the world we live in now, where kindness is often performed like a show. People record themselves giving money to the homeless, post photos of their charity work, announce their donations to the world. And while generosity is still generosity, something gets lost in the performance. It becomes less about the person being helped and more about the person helping. True kindness is never about elevating yourself. It's about lifting others. And here's the truth. When you keep your acts of kindness private, you protect not only your peace, but also the dignity of the person you're helping. Because nobody wants to feel like someone's project, like their pain is being used for likes, shares, or claps. Dignity matters. Respect matters. And when kindness is offered quietly, it allows the person receiving it to feel loved without being exposed. I think we also underestimate how kindness shapes us internally. When we do something good and resist the urge to announce it, it builds character. It strengthens our sense of integrity. It reminds us that not everything valuable has to be visible. That some of the most meaningful things in life are the ones no one else ever knows about. And let's be honest, sometimes we announce our kindness because we're desperate to prove that we're good people. We want the world to know, see, I'm kind, I'm generous, I'm thoughtful. But here's the hard truth. If we need applause to feel kind, we've already lost the essence of kindness. The purest kindness is when you do good and you're content with only you and the person you helped knowing about it. Maybe not even the person you can be kind without them ever realizing it was you. That is the highest form of generosity, expecting nothing in return, not even recognition. Think about this. A candle doesn't announce its light. It simply burns, quietly, faithfully, bringing warmth to everything around it. That's what kindness is meant to be, a steady flame, not a fireworks show. Fireworks grab attention, but they burn out quickly. A candle can burn all night, unseen by the world, but deeply felt by anyone who needs its light. So let me ask you, how many of your acts of kindness are you keeping private, and how many are you performing for others to notice? Imagine the kind of world we could create if kindness wasn't about cameras or applause, but about true compassion. Imagine how free we would feel if we stopped trying to prove our goodness and simply lived it. At the end of the day, the kindness you keep private is the kindness that defines you, not the one posted on social media, not the one shouted from the rooftops. The quiet, uncelebrated kindness, the one that flows from your heart and expects nothing back, that's the one that protects your peace, honors the dignity of others, and strengthens the core of who you are. So don't be afraid to let your kindness go unseen. Don't be afraid to do good in silence, because in silence, kindness grows roots. In silence, it becomes real. And in silence, it transforms not only the lives of others, but also the soul within you. We all have weaknesses. We all carry struggles that live quietly beneath the surface, insecurities, fears, habits we're ashamed of, wounds we don't want the world to see. And yet, in the age of oversharing, we feel pressured to put it all out there, to confess every detail of our pain to people who haven't earned the right to hear it. But here's the truth. Your struggles are not for everyone. Your weaknesses are not entertainment. They are tender, sacred parts of you that deserve to be handled with care. There's a difference between being vulnerable and being exposed. Vulnerability is choosing carefully who you open up to. Exposure is handing your wounds to people who haven't proven they can hold them. And when we confuse the two, we end up hurting ourselves. Because not everyone who listens will understand, and not everyone who sees your struggle will respond with compassion. Some will use it against you. Some will gossip. Some will minimize your pain with careless words. That's why protecting your struggles is so important. It keeps you safe from being wounded twice. Once by the struggle itself, and again by the wrong audience. I'll never forget a young man I once spoke with. He had been battling anxiety for years. Quietly, privately, one day he decided to share it openly in his workplace, hoping for understanding. Instead, he was met with judgment. People began treating him differently, doubting his ability to handle responsibility, whispering behind his back. He told me later, it felt like my struggle became my label. His pain wasn't respected, it was exploited. And that's the danger of revealing weaknesses to those who don't know how to honor them. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you should hide your struggles forever. We heal through connection. We grow when we find safe people who can sit with us in our pain without trying to fix us, judge us, or define us by it. But the key word here is safe. Not everyone is safe. Not everyone deserves access to the most fragile parts of you. Protecting your peace means choosing wisely where your struggles belong. Think of your weaknesses like cracks in a beautiful piece of pottery. In the wrong hands, those cracks are ridiculed, seen as flaws, reasons to throw the piece away. But in the right hands, in the hands of someone who knows the Japanese art of kintsugi, where broken pottery is mended with gold, those cracks become part of the story. They are honored, not hidden. They are transformed, not discarded. That's what happens when you share your struggles with the right people. But until you find those people, protect your cracks. Keep them safe. There's also something powerful about wrestling with your struggles in silence before announcing them to the world. Because when you fight your battles privately, you build resilience, you strengthen your character. And when the time comes to share your story, you'll be speaking from a place of healing instead of open wounds. The story will empower you instead of exposing you. And let's be honest, sometimes when we share our weaknesses publicly, we're not really seeking healing. We're seeking validation. We want people to tell us, it's okay, you're brave, you're strong. And while those words can feel comforting in the moment, they don't actually fix the struggle. They don't build the resilience you need. They create a temporary high that fades quickly, leaving you emptier than before. True healing comes not from applause, but from inner work and safe connection. So what does protecting your struggles look like? It looks like choosing to share only with those who've earned your trust. It looks like creating boundaries that honor your dignity. It looks like telling yourself, my pain is not for public consumption. My healing is not a show. I want you to imagine this. What if you started treating your struggles as treasures, not embarrassments? What if you saw your weaknesses as teachers instead of curses? How much gentler would you be with yourself? How much safer would you feel, knowing that you don't owe your brokenness to everyone, that it's yours to share, not theirs to demand? At the end of the day, your struggles are not the measure of your worth. They are simply part of your journey, and the power lies in how you carry them, who you trust with them, and how you allow them to shape you. Protecting your peace means keeping your weaknesses out of careless hands. It means honoring your pain by giving it the privacy it deserves. Because when you do, you're not just protecting your struggles, you're protecting your strength, your dignity, and your ability to rise again. Money, lifestyle, success. These are some of the most sensitive topics in our lives, and yet they're the ones we're most tempted to showcase. A new job, a shiny car, a luxury vacation, the latest gadget. We feel the urge to post, to announce, to prove. But here's the truth. Your finances and your lifestyle are not for everyone to measure, debate, or dissect. When you put them on display, you don't just share your blessings. You invite comparison, jealousy, and sometimes even danger. Protecting your peace means learning to keep your financial life private. There's nothing wrong with enjoying success. There's nothing wrong with wanting nice things or celebrating your progress. But the moment we turn those celebrations into a performance for others, they stop being about joy and start being about validation. We move from I'm grateful for this to I need everyone to see this, and that shift quietly steals our peace. I once knew a man who worked incredibly hard to build his business. For years, he struggled in silence. Long nights, failed deals, sacrifices nobody ever saw. Then, when he finally found success, he couldn't resist showing it off. Expensive cars, flashy vacations, endless posts about his lifestyle. At first, people celebrated him, but over time, the celebration turned into whispers. How much money does he really have? Is he even that successful? He must be showing off. And suddenly, the very thing he thought would bring him respect only brought him judgment. He told me later, I wish I had kept more of it private. I didn't realize how heavy it would feel to live under everyone's eyes. And that's the trap. When you expose your finances and lifestyle, you invite people into a space that is deeply personal. Some will admire you, but others will measure themselves against you. And comparison is dangerous, both for them and for you. Because comparison breeds jealousy, and jealousy can quietly erode relationships, create unnecessary tension, and sometimes even put your safety at risk. Think of your financial life like a garden. If you constantly throw open the gate and let everyone walk through, some will admire the flowers, but others might trample them, steal from them, or poison them with envy. But if you tend your garden quietly, with care, behind a fence of privacy, it flourishes in peace. It grows for you, not for the approval of others. And let's talk about the subtle ways lifestyle exposure impacts us. When we show too much, we start performing instead of living. Instead of buying something because it brings us joy, we buy it because it looks good online. Instead of taking a vacation to rest, we take it to post. We trade peace for performance, and that performance is exhausting. Because the truth is, no matter how much you share, someone will always have more, someone will always judge, and someone will always criticize. Protecting your peace means stepping out of that cycle. It means choosing gratitude over performance, It means enjoying your blessings without needing the world's applause. It means letting your financial choices be between you, your family, and your God, not the endless opinions of strangers. Now, this doesn't mean you can't celebrate milestones or share joy with loved ones. Of course you can, but do it intentionally. Share with the people who love you, who cheer for you without comparison, who see your success as inspiration instead of competition. Don't hand over your financial life to an audience that doesn't know your story, your sacrifices, or your heart. And here's another layer. When you keep your finances private, you free yourself from pressure. You don't have to maintain an image. You don't have to live up to expectations. You don't have to prove that you're still doing well. You get to live within your means, grow at your own pace, and make choices that align with your values, not choices that impress others. Privacy in finances is freedom. So let me ask you, are you living your lifestyle for yourself, or are you living it for the eyes of others? Are you making choices that bring you peace, or choices that bring you likes? Imagine how much lighter life would feel if your joy wasn't tied to proving anything. Imagine how much freer you'd be if you didn't care who knew what you earned, what you owned, or how you spent it. At the end of the day, money is a tool, not a trophy. Lifestyle is an expression of how you live, not a performance of who you are. The moment you stop putting it on display, you take back control. You stop letting the world dictate your worth, and you start living for what truly matters: peace, security, gratitude, and freedom. So keep your finances private. Keep your lifestyle yours. Protect your blessings by enjoying them quietly, because when your life isn't a performance, it becomes a sanctuary. And in that sanctuary, peace lives. There are places inside you that are so sacred, so personal, that they can't be explained in words. They can only be felt. Your inner peace, your faith, your spiritual beliefs, these are the quiet roots that hold you steady when the storms of life rage around you. And here's the truth. Not everyone deserves access to that sacred space, because what anchors you, what carries you, what gives you hope, is too precious to be put on display for judgment or debate. We live in a world where everyone has an opinion, where people argue over everything: religion, spirituality, the way we pray, meditate, or even the way we seek peace. And if you open the door wide enough, you'll quickly learn that some people don't want to understand your faith. They want to challenge it. Some don't want to honor your peace. They want to shake it. And when you let them in, they plant seeds of doubt, confusion, and shame, where certainty, hope, and stillness once lived. That is why your spiritual life, your inner peace, must be protected. I remember meeting a woman who had endured unimaginable loss. Her life had been turned upside down, but she carried herself with a calmness that felt unshakable. When I asked her where that strength came from, she smiled softly and said, "My faith, my God, my quiet time." But then her face grew serious. She told me how at one point she had tried to explain her beliefs to others, hoping to inspire them. Instead, she was mocked, ridiculed, told she was naive for believing in something bigger than herself. For a while, she said, their voices got louder than my own, and I started questioning everything. Eventually, she realized that not everyone was meant to hear her story. Some parts of her peace weren't meant for public display. They were meant to be whispered between her and God alone. That conversation changed me, because it reminded me of this truth. Your inner peace doesn't need validation. Your faith doesn't need applause. Your spirituality doesn't need to be explained, defended, or proven. It only needs to be lived. Think of it like a candle flame. When you shield it, nurture it, protect it from the wind, it glows steadily, giving light to your life. But when you expose it carelessly, letting anyone breathe on it, the wrong gust can blow it out. Your peace is that flame. Your faith is that light. Protecting it means surrounding it with boundaries, tending to it quietly, letting it shine for you before it shines for the world. And here's the beautiful paradox. The stronger you protect it, the more naturally it shines. You don't have to announce your faith or argue your peace. People will see it in the way you carry yourself, in the calm you bring to chaos, in the love you extend when it's not easy. True peace speaks louder than words, but when you hand your spiritual life over to critics, when you allow them to dissect it, you lose not just peace, you lose energy, because debates drain, but devotion restores. Arguments exhaust, but quiet belief renews. Protecting your peace means refusing to let your spiritual life become a battleground. Ask yourself this: when was the last time you sat in silence? Just you and your breath, just you and your God, just you and that unexplainable calm that comes when you're deeply connected to something greater than yourself. That moment, that is yours. It doesn't belong on social media. It doesn't need commentary. It doesn't need validation. It just needs your presence. And the truth is, when you stop trying to prove your spirituality, it becomes more powerful, because faith is not performance. Peace is not a show. Spirituality is not a debate to win. It's a journey to walk, quietly, faithfully, personally. So keep your inner peace private. Keep your spiritual practices sacred. Protect them the way you'd protect a precious seed in the soil. Hidden, nourished, guarded, until it grows strong enough to withstand the winds on its own. Because when you do, you'll find that your life doesn't just survive the storms. It becomes the calm in the storm. At the end of the day, the deepest parts of you are not for the world to argue over. They are for you to live, to nurture, to protect. Your peace is yours. Your faith is yours. And the more you protect them, the more they will protect you. We've walked through 7 things worth keeping private: your dreams, your good deeds, your personal life, your struggles, your weaknesses, your finances, and your inner peace. And as you've listened, maybe you felt a tug inside. Maybe you realize that, little by little, you've been giving too much of yourself away. You've been handing out pieces of your heart, your story, your energy to people who haven't earned the right to hold them. And that's okay. We all do it. We all want to be seen, to be understood, to be celebrated. But the truth is this: you don't have to expose yourself to be worthy. You don't have to share everything to be enough. Protecting your peace doesn't make you secretive, it makes you wise. It doesn't mean you're hiding, it means you're honoring yourself. It means you've finally learned that not everyone deserves front row seats to your life. Some people are only meant to wave from a distance. Some people haven't shown the respect, the compassion, or the safety required to hold your truth. And when you give those people access, you end up drained, hurt, and doubting yourself. But when you protect your peace, you take back your power. Think about it like this: your life is a home. Every room holds something valuable. Your dreams in one corner, your love in another, your struggles tucked carefully away, your peace resting in the quiet of your soul. Not everyone who knocks deserves to come in. Some people belong only in the front yard. Some belong in the living room. And only a few, very few, earn the trust to step into the most private rooms of your house. Protecting your peace means knowing which doors to lock and which to open. And here's the beauty of it: when you keep sacred things private, they grow stronger. Your dreams have a chance to bloom before being crushed by doubt. Your good deeds stay pure, untouched by applause. Your personal life remains grounded, safe from gossip. Your struggles heal quietly until they're strong enough to inspire others. Your weaknesses transform into wisdom in the hands of those who truly care. Your finances remain your freedom, not a show. And your inner peace glows steadily, untouched by judgment, unshaken by criticism. We live in a noisy world. Everyone is shouting, everyone is posting, sharing, performing, trying to be seen. But peace, real peace, is often found in the quiet, in the choice to keep some things sacred, in the decision to say, "This is mine." It doesn't need validation. It doesn't need an audience. It just needs to be honored. And let me tell you something powerful. The moment you stop giving everything away, the moment you stop performing, the moment you begin protecting your private spaces, you'll feel lighter, stronger, freer, because you're no longer living for approval, you're living for peace. And peace, my friends, is priceless. So tonight, as you walk away from these words, I want you to ask yourself, what am I giving away that I need to take back? Where am I exposing what should be protected? Who am I letting into rooms they haven't earned the right to enter? And most importantly, how can I start honoring my own soul with the privacy it deserves? Because protecting your peace is not selfish. It's sacred. It's the most courageous act of self-respect you'll ever choose. And when you choose it, you'll discover that your life doesn't just get quieter, it gets deeper, stronger, more meaningful. So keep some things to yourself. Protect your dreams. Protect your heart. Protect your peace. Because at the end of the day, your life is not a performance, it's a gift. And the more you protect it, the more powerful, beautiful and unshakable it becomes.